Oh, hey everyone! I thought we were gonna have a countdown. All right, we're live. How are y'all doing? I'm Shai. I'm part of the developer relations team here at Contentful, and I'm joined by Adrian today. Adrian, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Shai. I'm part of the developer relations team here at Contentful.
Let me go ahead and kill my YouTube. Give me 1 second. Sorry, everyone.
Okay, mine popped up too.
I'm gonna just get rid of my screen while I try to figure out where that's coming from. So.
Well, he's doing that. Hello, I'm Adrian Howard. I'm a developer advocate over at Courier. So we are a product that helps you send notifications through any channel using a single API. So I live in New York, across the river from Shai, but Courier is located in San Francisco. So I'm excited about the fun we're going to have today working with both Contentful and Courier.
All right, I think everything's working. Let me share my screen again, and if we get any feedback, we can dive into it. So before we get started, I do want to take a second to just plug some stuff.
Oh, that was me.
Is it coming from your side? Okay, it wasn't my fault.
No, that was me.
So yeah, I want to plug a couple things before we get started. For folks that are new to these streams, welcome. We're so excited to have you. For folks that are returning, let us know that you're here. We'd love to hear what your questions are and what you're thinking in the comments. We're always excited to see what tangents we get to go down when you give us ideas and suggestions and questions. So feel free to jump in with your comments. Make sure to head over to the Contentful developer portal if you're looking to get started with Contentful, or if you're an old Contentful veteran, or kind of just curious about what's the next thing you should build, or what piece of inspiration you're going for. Our developer portal is the go-to for everything Contentful developers. It's where our documentation lives. It's where links to our future live streams are. If you want to sign up for our developer newsletter, you can do that there. And also all the other stuff that I'm about to share. We have our Contentful Slack, which is where our community hangs out. You can come chat with us and ask us questions. We have our GraphQL course that Stefan did last quarter, which is really great, and you can check out. You can learn React and GraphQL and Contentful all in one go. We still have a few secret swag items that we're doing with our GraphQL giveaway. So if you build something using GraphQL, we will hook you up with some limited edition stickers. I just got mine a couple weeks ago, and they're really nice. And we did our first ever user conference Fast Forward last week, and so the recordings from that conference are up as well. We did our DevRel team did some great talks on apps, on our changelog, and our GraphQL API. And we're actually going to be doing a meetup next week, which I don't have on here, but you can learn about at our developer portal as well, which is really exciting. Adrian, do you want to talk about what your links are?
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about how to use Courier today. And Courier is free to use and sign up. You don't need a credit card to get started. If you just head over to courier.com, you can register and you can send 10,000 messages a month for free using Courier. So please go sign up, and feel free to tell them in intercom that we sent you over here at the Contentful Devs live stream. And then we have Courier live every Wednesday at noon Pacific on our Try Courier Twitch stream. So we're going to be doing that tomorrow as a continuation of this
Part two.
Part two. We're going to do a cliffhanger today. It's going to be great. Will we survive? Will we come? You'll have to tune in for the next one. So same bat time, different bat channel on Try Courier. And then let's see. We're going to be working with the Courier Python SDK. So surprisingly, Python is one of our most used languages for people connecting to Courier. And so we have a nice little wrapper library that I built. I just released version 1.6 yesterday, so we could use the list features today. So go check that out and build something awesome. And then what we're building today, Shai has put together a repo for. So what we're doing today, you can go and fork it, create your own fancy blog with subscriptions.
That's awesome. I'm really excited to use things because this is barely 24 hours old at this point. Not even, I think. It should be a lot of fun.
I mean,
Cool.
the tests all pass. So
That's what's important, right? The test pass.
Yeah.
I wish I could aspire to being good at tests. Tests are always that last minute thing that I do when the example requires tests. Whenever I'm making anything that uses continuous deployment, that's when I write tests so I can have things pass or fail as part of my rollout.
Well, I mean, I never said that I'm good at tests. I'm just saying that they are there. There's coverage, and they passed.
Yeah. Cool. So let me go ahead and show you really quickly the site that I've built. So a couple years ago, this is actually my first ever Contentful project. I was thinking about this recently. I was on a stream with Joe Nash over at Raise Dev, and he was asking me about like some of my older projects that I've done. And so my first ever Contentful project 3 years ago was I built a little fan site to cover some of my favorite superheroes. So I'm really into. Adrian, do you know much about Power Rangers?
I mean, I remember watching Power Rangers, and like I watched the movies, but I'm not going to claim that I'm some kind of super fan because someone will just smack me down.
Do you know how Power Rangers is made?
Like
how they make the show?
Like with cameras and whatnot.
So what they do is there's this long running show in Japan called Super Sentai, and it's been going for 45 years. And around the 25th iteration, they took the footage of that show and they licensed it. So what they do is they edit out all the bits with people outside of the superhero costumes, and so they just keep the fight scenes, they just keep the Megazords, and they refilm it. They used to refilm it in Los Angeles, now they refilm it in New Zealand, and they kind of edit it all together, and that's Mighty Morphing Power Rangers. So what you know as the Mighty Morphing Power Rangers, I know as Kyoryu Sentai Zyuranger, and you can see in the video that like the morpher is the same and the costumes are the same, but the people transforming are totally different. And if the sound was on, you would hear them shouting in Japanese instead of English as well. So I'm obsessed with.
I thought there was like a disconnect growing up of like when they didn't have the costumes on versus when they did.
Mm-hmm.
And then my favorite was like, I think, what was it, Turbo? Whenever a little kid joined, and like when he morphed, he just turned into this tall person.
Yeah. So that's Car Ranger, and so in this one they're mechanics, and they own a mechanics studio, and it's great, man. This stuff is great. You can get it all on DVD. That's my shameless plug, because I want more DVDs to get released. And but yeah, so I have this little fan site I built. It's a site, one page. It's a site with where you can click into things. You can get some information. I stole all the information from TV tropes because I am unoriginal, but I did credit it, which is important. And the way the site is built is actually over in Contentful. It's we have a content model. There's some shows. The shows get divided into types. There's some information that comes along. And that gets all pulled together to build the site. From a code perspective, this is actually all being done in Python. So we've got a barely 100-line Python file that takes a look at what's in the content model, pulls all the content, and then passes it over to some render templates to poop it out so people can see it. So site-wise, it's fairly small. The important thing, though, for our stream is that I've gone ahead and I've added a submission section. So up here on the top, we have an email address section. We can filter by type, and then we have a button that lets us subscribe. Although right now all it's doing is just returning a page with, hey, this is the email and this is the thing that you subscribe to. It doesn't actually do anything. So I figured this might be a good place for us to get started hooking up to Courier.
Sure. Yeah. So we're going to be using the Courier lists API. Yeah. So previously, whenever you used Courier, you could send one notification to a single recipient. And so that's how we usually work out. It's one-to-one. But we just recently released lists, which allow you to make one API call to send one message to a list of people.
Cool.
And so we're going to be hooking that up. For this example, it looks like we're going to just be using email. But with Courier, you can set in any kind of channels. So
Mhm.
if we wanted to allow them to put in an email or maybe a phone number, or I don't know if they had, if there was an app, so you could do push notifications. If you had maybe a Slack bot that was in one of your workspaces, we could set it up with that. So the person subscribing could actually choose how they want to see this notification sent to them. But they were just going to ask for an email address.
Yeah, I was really impressed by how many integrations you all had out of the box, and how simple and easy it was to get this all set up as well. I am beforehand, because I don't want to show my API keys on screen, I went ahead and I set up the SendGrid integration, and the documentation was very helpful, and I just tossed in an API key and the from address, and hopefully I did this right. We'll find out.
Yeah, and like, we have a lot of them there, and a lot of them that we have are because customers have asked for them. So if you are using something and we don't have it, like, send us a message and we'll get it added pretty quickly. Like my first day, which was almost a year ago, so I'm coming up, I actually added that Plevo that Plevo integration, and I did it within the first 4 or 5 hours of starting on my first day. So whenever someone from DevRel, like the technical people from DevRel or from our engineering start, their first project is to implement a provider.
That's awesome.
And so that's one of the ways that we get it put in there. And then we just recently had what we call Courier Dispatch, which is our internal hackathon. And coming soon, there's going to be a Discord integration that I built.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
That'll be a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun to put together.
I feel like now it must be getting challenging, because you're starting to run out of really great integrations. You've got all the good ones already. Like Discord is the one that I feel like was missing, and if you've already got it covered, I feel bad for the new folks who are joining. They're going to have to go hunt down some more obscure services to integrate, because you've got all the big ones already.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the whole point, is to make it really easy, and then be able to design the messages, which I think we'll be doing tomorrow to cover all the different channels that are available.
Cool.
So today we're just going to work on gathering the information we need for sending an email. And that's just an email address. So whenever you put in your email address and you select what you want to subscribe to, it's going to hit that endpoint, and then that's where we're going to take over doing some calls in Courier. So the first thing we'll need to do is create a Courier profile. So we talked about the Lists API. That kind of works hand in hand with the Profiles API.
And so that up as well.
Yeah, so we'll use the email address, and we'll create a profile with a recipient ID. And so we have all of these things that kind of revolve around this recipient ID. Oh, good, it's right there. So that's just a unique identifier. A lot of times you have this identifier already. So you have some kind of system of record. Like if somebody logs in, it's usually like their user ID, or there's some kind of user ID based on the database. So this is just a string, and we let you make this whatever you want. But there's a little line in here. It says choose a value that does not change, prevent duplicate entries. But like, if we use the email address as the recipient ID, like you can change your email address, but then the recipient ID doesn't change. So part of what we're going to need to do today is figure out like what is going to be a good recipient ID, so we can attach that back to the user if they come back. And so we can create that profile, and then we'll have that recipient ID, and then with that we can use that to subscribe to a list. So I don't want to get too far ahead, but like there's some fun things we can do with the naming of the lists.
Let's do it. How do you want to get started?
Okay, so you have the route created.
Yep, I made the route, and I also cheated a little bit so folks wouldn't have to watch us set up environment variables. But I went ahead and I already set up a Courier client as well, and I can connect to the auth token and all that. So I've done a little bit of work, but that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, so you can install our Courier Python SDK with pip install try Courier, and you've already done that.
Yep.
And then I see you've created a Courier client, which is great. That's something we're going to need.
Yeah. What was funny about it is in your documentation, you all call it client, and unfortunately, I had already taken that variable with the contentful client.
It's like sometimes we just use like underscore, like just regular lowercase courier. I think I've called it different things everywhere. But I've seen that you've initiated it by passing in an auth token.
Yep.
And since we are already using an environment variable, and you have correctly called it courier underscore auth underscore token, the library actually looks for that.
Oh, that's
so
great.
If you have already set an environment variable, all you need to do is just initiate courier with nothing.
So I can just delete that, and we're good to go.
And you're good, because one thing that we're trying to get people to do is we're trying to get them to use environment variables, because we don't want people to put their auth token into the code and then check it into the GitHub, and then you expose it to the world. And like with Courier, you've given people great power to send messages over multiple channels.
Yeah.
Like I used to work for Sparkpost, and I was constantly deleting my API keys because I would just check them in somewhere or put them on a live stream. So
I'm really lucky with Contentful that for 3 of our 4 major APIs, they are read-only. And so I can give away my API keys without really having to worry about it. It's just that our management API, which is our API for editing content and changing content and basically adjusting things, that one I'm not allowed to give away. And I have to be very careful when I'm doing stuff on stream, and I'll like copy it, and it's like, wait, crap, I got to get rid of that one. I have to. It's a little anti-pattern. I've been spoiled by our engineering team a little bit.
Yeah. So cool. So we've got this client ready, and so we can go to the route that accepts the post or the submission.
Yeah.
And so you've grabbed out the email.
Yeah, for just a little bit of context for folks that are watching, I just have a little form. I'm using Bulma here, which is where all the styling is coming from, and then I'm just making a post request back into the app, which isn't the cleanest way to do it, but it's the fastest way to do it. And I figure you don't want to sit and watch me like configure a form for 20 minutes. So
I'm always worried about taking up too much time with the form. So we've got the 2 pieces of information. We'll use the type to determine the list.
Yeah.
So the first thing we want to do is use this email to create a profile. And so if we do courier underscore client. Dot. It's I think we want to do merge profile or replace profile.
So this is something I was curious about when I was looking at the documentation yesterday. I saw that your profile routes all either replace or create, and so rather than having a create profile, it's either the replace profile or the merge profile. And I was curious if you could talk about kind of the thought process about setting the API kind of like that, rather than having a discrete like create profile route.
Yeah. This is actually something that might change. So we've stopped doing it this way. I think a lot of our stuff going forward is create or replace. So we're using put, and I think that's just because part of the reason is because it's an idempotent operation, without having to use something like an idempotency key.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. As we go to like a new version of the client libraries, you'll see that as like maybe not create, because I think it's put. So like it would be like .profiles.put instead of replace profile. So this is kind of something that's kind of left over from being around for a while. But with that, I haven't used this in a long time. What's the
I think it looks like it was giving me recipient ID profile.
Okay, so this is where we need to figure out what to use as the recipient ID. We could go against best practices and just use the email for that.
I mean, I can always install like a UUID library or something really quickly if we want to stick to best practices. I don't think we're going to be changing this too much, but I don't know why anyone would not want to unsubscribe from notifications about obscure Japanese superhero. That just doesn't seem like a use case in my head.
So for this use case, like it probably doesn't matter, and I think UUID would be fine because it's going to be unique. But for other people who are adding other things, like maybe you want to have people be able to update their profile because there's a lot of information that you can store in the profile. You can do given name, family name, birth date, and then all of the things that you need to send to the different channels for Courier. So if there's an email property, if you want to send an email, there's a phone _ number property. If you want to send something that like a text or even WhatsApp uses that same property. And then if you want to use Slack or Discord coming soon, or any of the other ones, there's objects that have the information they need. And you could possibly have like a shy profile created that has all of that information. And then Courier can select the best method for you based on the notification.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So it looks like UUID is actually built into Python. I'm not saying that I need to install anything. So let's just go ahead and do that really quickly and see if it works.
Like I probably used it and just not even realized it.
Yeah. Let me just go ahead and do a quick print, and we can see if that works.
Do we want a type 1 or do we want a type 4?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I feel like I've been using 4.
Yeah, I feel like 4 is best practice. All right, let me go ahead. It's running, so it's not throwing any complaints at us, which is great. And then we just, we've got a UUID. Cool. Let's just use that then.
Sure. So we'll pass it the UUID as the recipient ID. And then
I don't really. So normally I imagine you would attach this to like something in a database. Like if you've got if you're running a shop and you want to tie it to a user profile. For this use case, I think it's okay that we don't hold on to it.
No, that's fine. And usually it'd be the other way around. Like you would use a UUID that the shop would already have for that customer. Right. And that's how you would do it, because the system of record would not be us. But I think you can't right now get you can't search profiles or like get all of them currently. I don't know if that's going to change, but the original thought was there was going to be a system of record, and that UUI that recipient ID is going to tie to something in there.
Yeah.
And then I believe the next thing we need is the actual profile, which is a dict in dictionary and
I think you actually had an example of that right here.
Yeah. So let's just copy that.
Replace the email with email.
And so there's lots of things that you could put in. We're not asking for first name, last name, like that. That will be that would be something that would be great to have, because you can also do substitution based on information that's stored into the profile. Yeah. Especially when sending to the lists. But for this, we just have the email. And so we're doing a replace profile. So if we ever end up with the same UUID again, hopefully not, it will replace it. But there's another option, which is merge profile, which is, I think it uses the post. Yeah. But
that would be if someone wanted to add a phone number or something, it would merge those things together.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of replacing the whole thing. So that is the first thing that needs to be done. And then we can go through and subscribe them to a list. So after that completes, we'll do courier_client.lists. So this is the new one. Subscribe.
Got it?
Yep.
And let's go ahead and take a look at that in the documentation. Sorry, I'm a sucker for looking at documentation.
Sure.
I never remember things off the top of my head, so I always like to take a look at the docs. But
this one's actually really easy.
Yeah,
it's the list ID and the recipient ID that you're subscribing to it.
Got it.
So let's talk about the list ID.
Yeah.
Because we might want to make it easier on ourselves, add values to those options, because right now they're just coming over as the names, right? But whenever we're talking about list IDs, there is a special way that you name them because you can actually segment your list using God. So for this, we could say, what's the name of the website?
It's Henshin is what I named it.
Okay.
And it's actually it's up on. I actually have no idea where this is being hosted, but
I mean, it works.
But it's up on the internet somewhere.
So we could name the list something like Henshin dot blog dot and then the tag name.
Henshin dot blog,
and I would do all lowercase just to make it easy.
Same.
And then you would do like maybe the fancy.
What's the fancy Python string?
So you can do like I found out.
I think it's dot form. F string is the new way.
Yeah, so I found out there's a new way because I've been just doing like the %s and then just like %.
This is it.
Tuple.
F and then I saw this a couple days ago and I think it's really cool. So, and then we probably need to actually modify the type because right now there's spaces and I imagine that is gonna remove spaces Python.
Yeah, so we can either remove it there or add. I think you can add like names on the front end, but
like an if test or something.
Well, so the form in the form, the value. Oh,
right. Yeah, I could just do that.
Yeah,
that is probably the easier way to do it. It's not because
right now the options don't have values.
Yeah.
Oh no, not there.
No.
That's display. So in the option tag.
Oh right. Value equals.
Yeah.
Everyone. And I'm probably going to want to lowercase this as well, right?
I mean, you can have it however you want.
Yeah, I'll just make it lowercase.
But like, I would just remove the spaces. Yeah. And then we can do something for everyone.
Yeah.
That's so if we did hinchy.blog.everyone, then like I think what we can do is use pattern matching to take care of that.
Yeah.
And so we can just subscribe them to
both lists.
Hinchy.blog.
Oh, the higher level.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if it is, and maybe we want to like pull this out into a variable like for building the list name to say like if subtype equal everyone, then the list name is just hinchy.blog. And else it's going to be hinchy.blog.subtype.
Go ahead and just comment that out. And I want to just double check the values are coming through. Okay, so it's coming as, where's my print? Did I break it? Maybe. Everyone, cool. So it's coming through correctly. So if subtype one, then ID equals, and it was mention dot like that.
Oh yeah,
and then
we have a question in the chat. Someone's asking what we're doing. What are we building?
Yeah. You want to take that one?
Yeah, sure. So Shai has put together a blog that pulls the content from Contentful, and it's using Python and Flask, right, to build it out.
Yep.
And he added the ability to subscribe to different types of blog posts. And so we currently have two types. Which are, do you want to say the types?
Yeah, so it's a common writer website, which is a so there's an hour block of television in Japan where they have superheroes. Super Sentai is the team, so there's usually lots of them transforming into superheroes, and then there's the common writers, which are like it's only one person, and they're transforming into a superhero by themselves. So it's just a collection of different superheroes. So, this one is my favorite. He transforms via fruit.
Oh,
so that's an
it's
orange.
Super Fruit Ninja.
Yeah, pretty much. He's great. He's the best. He turns into a ninja via strawberries. Right now he's a samurai, but it's being pedantic. So, yeah. So yeah, we're adding the ability to subscribe to it. So every time we publish a new piece of content on Contentful, you will get an alert based on which of these that you've subscribed to. So we've got an Everyone collection, we've got a Kamen Rider collection, we've got a Super Sentai collection. So
yeah.
So I think our string is set up. So we've generated a little if test just to help us set up the list ID. If it's an everyone, the list ID is going to be just henshin.blog. And then if it's a specific subcategory, it'll be henshin.blog and then the subcategory.
Yeah.
Cool.
And so what that will allow us to do is, if we send to everyone, we can do henshin.blog.star.
Got it.
No, sorry, that's just the pattern that will be for later.
For later, okay.
Yeah. So if we send to henshin.blog, that's basically everyone. But if we want to send to a certain subtype, we can send to henshin.blog.the subtype.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we've got the list ID, and so we can now call subscribe. So it takes the list ID, and then it also takes the
recipient ID.
So we probably need to copy that out somewhere as well.
We can.
And is Python like? It looks like list underscore ID could be none in some case.
I don't think so because I've got the else or this should just be an else.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll do it.
All right.
Oh, what have I messed up? Replace profile.
Oh, you didn't put it back in.
I didn't put it back in. Programming is difficult.
It's hard.
I like my terminal theme. It tells me how long things have been up. And so it's like, this is how long you've managed to code without introducing bugs. And sometimes I feel great and sometimes I feel terrible, depending on how the number goes. Cool. So should we subscribe and then go take a look at the Courier website and see what happens?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, you don't sound confident.
Well, so I don't know what UI changes have gone in since I left. So this will be fun.
This is what you get for taking a week off,
right? We move so quickly over at Courier that I might not be caught up to all the cool things that we've added.
All right, so shy@contentful.com. Subscribe.
Yeah,
we get our success page, and then if I go over to Courier, would it be metrics?
Go into the designer.
Designer.
Yeah, and there is. Oh, I'm sorry. I think it's under data. So the little database looking guy. There we go.
Okay.
And so we do have lists. So if you click on the list tab, so you're currently on messages.
Aha.
Okay. So yeah, so right now we only see the that you have created a list.
Mm-hmm.
So before we could have went and looked and be like, there's no list, but and we didn't create one. But whenever you subscribe somebody to a list that doesn't exist,
mm-hmm.
we create that list for you.
Yeah.
It doesn't have if you create the list ahead of time, you can assign a list name to it, something human readable.
Yeah.
Or you can go in later and update that. But most of what we use, most of the list API is API firi. So we might not have a UI for it. So if we wanted to see who was subscribed to it, we could use the API. And actually, we can do that inside the documentation.
Yeah. I saw that the documentation was dynamic.
Cool. If you go down to it's Git, it's that
this one.
Yeah. And so put in Henshin.blog. I delete the cursor.
Got it.
And then hit try it. And then just authenticate via OAuth. It's going to
Reader.
authenticate using your Courier login.
Amazing.
And don't click that.
Nope.
Don't click that again. Or don't click the little drop down because it will show your token. But
Yeah.
If we go back to the list API,
Okay.
and to that get down there, we have to type it back in because.
Okay. Oh no, it didn't save. That's not fun.
What? Oh my gosh, this was working.
Yeah.
It
might be my ad blocker is
you know what? It might be
messing with the page. I have a pretty aggressive ad blocker.
okay.
We'll see if that fixes it.
Yeah. Then bliss. It's that middle get. And then delete that, and then hit try.
No. Oh, okay.
Well, well, actually, let's click on curl.
Yeah. Just do it the old-fashioned way.
And yes, but it doesn't have the part with it doesn't have the headers in there. Oh my gosh. We did not write this.
We could just use the Python SDK and just print it into the terminal.
Yeah, you can just use. Let's go back to. That's a good thing to do. So let's just do that. So it's I believe it. Yeah, it's gets _ subscriptions off of list. So Courier client list get subscriptions, and yeah, you just need to pass it that ID list ID.
Cool. And then I guess I will just do.
And that's going to return a dictionary with items and paging. So you just want to grab the items off of that, and that will show you.
Okay, so let's just do a print. And I think the dictionary is small enough that we don't really need to dive into it just yet. So I'm just going to print. And this is good. This will give me an excuse to double check a different email and see if our type works. So let me use one of my personal emails.
Yep.
Cool. So subscribe to our Common Writer collection. That's great. And we can see right here that it's created. We have one recipient ID, if I'm looking at that correctly.
Yep.
Which makes sense because we only have one thing subscribed to that, and we should have a second list now.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
It's great. Cool. What should we do next?
I was like, well, that was really fast. We
do have to save some things for tomorrow.
I know. I was like, what should see? So what's left? We.
Well, maybe we could do make a little route for people to unsubscribe. I know we were talking about that earlier. Maybe do like a app route / user / UUID, and that way we can just you folks can have a little change type button or something. Or if anyone has any suggestions, we're more than happy to do that, and that way we can maybe do some stuff with replacing profiles or changing profiles or.
Yeah. So yeah, we could very easily make an unsubscribe, assuming that you keep track of your user UID.
Yeah, I think the way I would handle that is just add it to the to the email. Just the unsubscribe will give you a link to just dynamically generate the link with the recipient ID at the end.
Yeah, you can totally do that. So why don't we go ahead and create that route, and then we can show there is a method for unsubscribing.
Yeah. So this is me going off the rails a little bit. So I'm probably going to be Googling things a little more than normal, but that's fun. So user, and then I have it set up actually here.
And so this is so we're thinking this is going to be a get route.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to have to pass in the recipient ID and the list ID.
Oh, we're going to need both. Okay, we can do that too.
So /user / recipient ID / the list that we're unsubscribing, or.
Well, I was thinking we could maybe just have some buttons will we be able to get a get and figure out what list the user is in?
So I guess how are we launching into this? Like it's going to be an unsub link, like in an email, or
yeah, that's what I was thinking, or just like user and then the user string or the recipient string, and then it could have like a little like you're subscribed to this list. Do you want to switch to a different type, or do you want to just unsubscribe completely, or you want to change your email?
So we can get all of these, all the lists that people are subscribed to. So maybe that would be a good route to get. And so let's say that this one, and so if this is something that's going to have like a web interface, and we're not limited to get. I thought this was going to be a link that we have people click onto like from somewhere else, but we could make this a post.
Yeah, that's what.
Or well, I guess it could be. A get. It could be a get.
Yeah.
And then we would just, let's say this returns all of their lists.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Too many things.
And it would also return any other information we have about them. But
yeah. So how do we get? I'm guessing it's just going to be a Courier client again. Let's see what we got. Is there a get or a...
So let's go ahead and get their profile information.
Okay.
So I believe it's get_profile.
Get_profile.
Yeah. And that just takes the recipient ID.
Great.
So we can give them back the information that we have on them, which it currently only includes their email. And then we can use the recipient ID to do Courier _client .lists . It starts with find.
And by recipient ID?
Yeah.
All right. So let me go ahead and store these. Profile.
Yeah. So that will be
lists. And then let me just create a new render template really quickly. I'm just going to go ahead and copy my email submitted one as well. So let's do, is there a save as? Yes.
I'm still learning like all the bells and whistles with code.
So Stefan has been trying to get me to switch to VS Code, and a few other friends as well. And I've finally taken it seriously now that my Windows machine has died on me. And I really like it. I've really come around to it.
I was hesitant for so long because I don't know if you remember when like ASP.NET 2.0 came out, and they came out with this Visual Studio, I don't know, Express or something like that. I don't remember what it would call it, but it wasn't the full-blown like Visual Studio. But it was like a lighter thing, and I really enjoyed using it, and then it just went away. And then everybody's like, oh, Visual Studio Code, it's so great. I was like, I have been tricked before, and I was just waiting. I was using Atom for the longest time, and then I finally just moved it over. And so I'm using it now.
I see that we've got a bunch of folks that are showing their love for VS Code in the chat. Stefan is really into it, and Bruce is really into it. So I appreciate the confidence. And let me go ahead and just upload a new success image, because this is a good excuse for me to look at my library of GIFs.
It's like, this is how you get people to like talk during one of these. Is you're like, Visual Code sucks, and then you just wait for it all to come in. Now let me take some time to talk about how dumb Vim is. Not kidding, I use that too.
What do we want to use for our list update? I have a bunch of stupid. Let's use the question one. I don't know why. This is fine.
Sure.
No, this is a big GIF. I'm going to get in trouble from Stefan in a little bit. He's going to tell me off for using such a large file.
But doesn't Contentful like optimize that for you? Like,
not on GIFs. We do on static images. We have a whole really strong image API that does great on static images, but it does not work on GIFs, unfortunately. Okay, so let's see if this works. It's probably gonna. Let me go ahead and save this, and then I'm going to need to actually return this information. So let's just go and poop it out for now. Technical term there, pooping out the data. Profile.
So what would you say Contentful does? Oh, it poops out data. You feed it all the data, and then on command, it just poops it out.
All right. Python.
I'm good enough of a Vimmer to handle SSH editing. Same.
Yeah.
That's that's basically why I use it. And then also I was raised on like Linux distros in college, right? Like,
yep. In college, I was a huge Fedora user,
and so,
and
like, that's what you had to learn how to use. And there was the Emacs camp and the Vim camp, and my friends were in the Vim camp, so that's where I went.
My parents didn't really get technology, and so I didn't get a laptop until my sophomore year of college, and that made freshman year computer science very difficult. So the most effective thing to do was to SSH into the computer science Linux cluster, because then I wouldn't have to worry about, because like I didn't have consistent machines, and the library network was all screwy, and so I just walked around with a PuTTY, a portable version of PuTTY on my flash drive, and that's how I did a lot of my computer science homework. Okay.
I actually went to a college that, as part of the tuition, was a laptop. So everybody from your class had the same laptop, and it was this crappy Acer one, but it made it through somehow.
Yeah. All right. Here we go.
So we got lots more information that we need. I guess if you wanted to make it prettier, you could. But if you wanted to do unsubscribes.
Yeah. So now that we have data, we actually probably should do something with it.
Yeah. So I think we could. So I'm new to Flask.
Yeah.
I had to do a demo in Django, but I wanted to do Flask for some reason. But like, would we pass back like to the template like something that looks like this? I'm used to using JSON because of JavaScript.
So the way I would do this is, so this is a get route right now. I added a get method. I would actually have the get method and the post method work a little differently. So the get method would just do an output like this, and then I would have the post method. So let's say we wanted to update the email address.
Right.
I would just have the post method. So it'd be a form. The form would submit to the same route, and the route would be like, oh, hey, this is the post version. You're giving me data, and then do an update.
Okay.
If you wanna try that.
Yeah, let's do that. So I think it'd be cool to be able to unsubscribe and then also update your email. I like we're basically generating a lot of sample Python code for me, and this is something that if you're using Courier, you still have to maintain this somehow, right? Like which email the user is using. And if they're subscribed or not, and this is a great use of the library.
Yeah. So let me go ahead and just pull up the Bulma documentation really quickly, and because I am, actually, you know what? I can cheat. I can just steal this from my layout file and just use the same field. So we've got our form, which is here, and in our user, we can have a little key. I'm missing the autocomplete, but I'm sure there is an add-on that'll do that for me.
I don't even know what all add-ons I'm using. I'm happy that I got the virtual environment stuff working.
User, can I f-string? I probably can't f-string here. I'm probably going to have to do some string concatenation, but that's okay. User, and where is my recipient? The profile. It was what? Profile dot. Give me 1 sec. Nope, not this route.
Profile dot email.
Profile dot. No, we want the UUID. I'm gonna have to pass it the UUID. That's no big deal. Profile dot.
Oh yeah.
UUID, and then we can return UUID as equal to UUID, which that's not actually what it's called. It's called this. That's not going to get confusing. So let me fix that right now. If that works, it might not. Update form. Okay, let's see. So, and then the other How does that look? Did I mean user profile instead? No, I didn't mean user profile, did I? User string. Huh. Let me. Oh, you know what I can do? I can do something. I can just use user. And then I can do a hidden value. Sorry, this is me getting how do we do hidden inputs in Bulma?
Hello, Morar.
I'm gonna assume it's just the word hidden. So I'm gonna do an input area.
Okay.
Just our
Oh, it's like input type equal hidden, right?
yeah. So input name is equal to recipient ID and then type. Let's see if hidden works, but if it doesn't, that's okay. We can fix that. And then value is going to be pre-filled in with our recipient ID, right?
So we are using Python with Flask, and so you see him editing a Flask template. And so, does the templating language for Flask have a name?
Jinja 2.
Jinja 2. Oh, I've been doing a lot of like converting Jinja to handlebars.
Yeah.
Lately. But yeah, so we're using Jinja 2 for the templates, and then the back end is being written using Python.
Yeah, we have a comma on subscribe form. Where is this coming from? Template syntax error. What have I done? And how have I made this harder for myself? You know what? Let's just get the form working before I change anything.
Yeah.
Subscribe form. Subscribe form. What's a subscribe form? Am I not? I know what I've done. Here we go. Update form.
Oh, yeah.
This is what I'm talking about. I didn't want to mess around with forms in the stream because it's a bunch of mess, unfortunately.
Oh,
you know what? We can just make sure that this works. Okay, so we've got our thing.
sure.
And let me just make a form without any of the styling. It might just be that. So form. Okay, we've got input. This is going to be named recipient. I spelled the word recipient to save my life.
Yeah, I can't think about it. I just have to let my fingers type it out.
Yeah, value is going to equal that recipient ID that we're passing. Great. So let's double check that this works. It does. Cool. And then I will make it hid.
Okay.
Hidden. Cool. So that's thing one. Next, we want the type. So that's our select. Just span. Oh, this is definitely going to break something. All right. Well, let's see. Cool. Well, we don't see our recipient ID anymore, so that's positive. Then we want our input.
Studying C# and .NET. I personally have no tips. The last time I was doing C#, it was ASP.NET 2.0. I think some things have changed. I do Python enough to keep the library up to date and do some simple things, but mostly I do a lot of JavaScript.
We actually can value. And because we're getting that information, it's profile.email.
Yeah.
So it's profile.email. Okay, well, that's not what I expected, but let's take a look at what's going on here. The value is empty. Is it profile.profile?
Oh, it is. Yeah. Because the object.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Profile.profile.
Profile.email.
Great.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then we want it to submit. So we need this is where the thing is going to get unhappy with me, is the button. So, because I just did a little,
And this submit is just
a JavaScript thing.
right. Well, I'm saying that this submit is just going to update the email field, right?
Yeah. So the submit is going to hit the user route with a post request. And so then we'll be able to do if get request. And actually I can add this right now. So it'll be if request dot method. Let me double check that. If request dot method. Yep, I was right. Request dot method equals get, then we'll do this stuff, right?
Oh, okay.
And then else if request dot method equals post, we'll do something else. So that's how we'll be able to filter it, is we'll be able to,
Cool.
the form will do a submission and the form will hit that route via a post rather than a get. And that's how we'll know that stuff is happening.
Nice.
So it's going to be subscribe form, get element by ID. So form. Oh, I think I know what I did. Okay, that's fine. Form, and this is going to be our update form. Form, and let's double check and make sure that this still works. That's got it. Cool. Well, that's different and unexpected. Was not expecting that. Probably because there's a class there.
Hey, there we go.
Okay. I should end my A tag. That's important.
Oh, I see. You're. I was like, why are you doing the JavaScript thing when you could just use a submit type button, right?
Yeah.
But you're using an image.
Yeah, the library I'm using has I mean, it does have a formal button class, but to do the styling stuff that I was doing with this all being grouped, it requires it to be a link rather than a button. But that's something I'll clean up before tomorrow, so it'll look nice. But this at least
I think all the accessibility people will come after you.
Yes, they
probably a button for submit.
They probably will. So. But I think this is good enough for now. So we can double check that the submission is working correctly. So here we can do. I guess we can change the email to shy at contentful and hit update, and this is going to take us to that something else route, which is great.
All right.
We can go ahead and just print the request dot it is form, and we can see what we're getting.
Okay.
I think it's just going to be, this is going to complain as well because I did not. So the type will work. The recipient ID will work, and the email will work because I labeled it all correctly. So let's send it. Yep, and so we've got our dictionary with our recipient ID, our new type, and our new email. So we've got our data, we've got our update, and we should actually do something with it, I guess.
Yeah, so the first thing that we can do, really easy, is to do, and I would use a merge. Do we still have the Courier client, so we can do Courier client dot merge profile.
Yep.
And that will take the recipient ID.
Yeah. So let me go ahead and just steal these because they're already there.
Sure.
And then recipient ID is going to be request.form / recipient ID. And fix the tabs because otherwise Python will get mad at us.
Yes, it will.
Cool. So merge profile, and then it's
so it takes the recipient ID, and then we need to pass in. You could probably copy that dict structure or dictionary structure. I should probably not say the shortened verb.
Yeah. Where did we do that? We did that here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll probably need to do something with the type, or
So for the type, I feel like those should be like unsubscribing from those should be like separate buttons. Like we should, like right now we have it in a drop down list, but you could sign up for multiple types, right? And so like seeing a list of your subscriptions and then being able to like unsubscribe, like maybe have checkboxes by them, and if they check the boxes by them, we'll know in this function to unsubscribe.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't it be cleaner, since it's only 2 types right now, to just do it? You're everything. You're at one or you're the other. I mean, I guess going forward, if I added a 3rd category of superheroes or something, I would want to do that.
I mean, yeah, it's up to you.
Let's just to keep it easy, and because we're coming up on our time cap.
Yeah.
Let's just switch it, since we only have 2 types right now.
Well, so we would need to unsub from that. Wait, is there something spelled wrong? Or?
Yeah. Why is it erroring out?
I think you got an extra. Well, you're missing an I, or you have an extra I.
There we go. I'm just gonna copy paste it. Copy paste the rest here.
That call is updating the email, and then what we would need to do is do an unsub
and then a resub.
Yeah. So,
well, we could cheat a little bit then, and we could do add an option of nothing, which would be the permanent. This probably isn't the best way to do it, but we would have a method, I guess, for if the subtype is unsubscribe, or if it's
well, so if the subtype is unsubscribed, then we don't want to do anything. Like, so the first thing we need to do is unsubscribe them from what they're on.
Yeah.
Like what they currently are on.
Yeah.
Is that going to be passed back?
Yeah, so we would get it as this, and I guess I can just
right, but we have to know the list that they're already subscribed to unsubscribe them from it. So what we might need to do is make that call to get their subscription. Yeah,
because we have their request ID again. So I guess we could do another Courier client dot, and this is going to be get profile
list
dot
find
by recipient ID. Yeah. Recipient ID will need to be higher. Doing things with it. And by recipient ID, great. So now we've got and we should probably store this list equals.
So I would call that like response or result or something, because yeah, that's not actually the list. It's got paging information, and it's got all the different lists. So what I would maybe, so if you loop through the result dot items.
Yeah.
Just run the unsubscribe on each one of those.
So item. Or is it result? And then item. I need to actually double check that. I need to look that up. I don't know the loop off the top of my head, but
I don't either.
Well, we can check this really quickly. We can just do a quick print.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
Because it's going to be each result or each item.
Or X in thing Python. Is it? I think it might just be thing, but it might also be thing with W in words. Print.
You want to loop over result.items. So you're doing for item in result, but it wouldn't be for item in result.items.
Oh, is it .items?
Yeah.
Plural or singular?
Plural. Yeah.
Cool. So let's print the item,
and then we'd have like item.list _ ID.
Yeah. Let me just double check that this is working. Okay, invalid syntax. What have I done wrong? How how do for loops work?
I was like, I don't know. I always use like comprehensions, you know.
Oh, there's no parentheses. I've been doing a lot of JavaScript recently, and I think that's messing with my brain. So we've got our thing running, and I guess we're gonna do. It should just do something if we submit. Built-in function is not iterable. Let me go ahead and just print this. See what we get there.
Okay.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Built-in method of dict object.
What?
Let's go take a look at the
Oh, you know what? I think it's because we're using dot notation. Do results square bracket
results
or result.
Like-
Sorry.
result singular.
Yeah, and then items is in single quotes. Because like it's a weird thing about using dot notation or with dictionaries.
Key error. Let me just stop. Let's just print result and see what happens.
Yeah.
Cool. So result is.
Oh, it's results. Oh my gosh. Sorry, this one is results instead of because we're using the profile API actually on the back end. Okay. Results.
Yep. And this is going to be a thing that we can iterate over.
Yeah. So that's a list. It's going to be a list of dictionaries.
Yep. Amazing. Of which there's currently one, which is fine. For item in result. Just copy paste this.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be item dot unsubscribe ID.
Yeah, so that's what we need. But let's do so. We need to go through and unsubscribe for each one. So it's going to be courier client.list.unsubscribe.
Courier client.list.unsubscribe.
And then the first is the list ID. So it's going to be item.id. I think we can use the dot here.
Yeah.
And then the recipient ID that you have up above.
Great. Let's do it. Let's see what happens.
And so that will unsubscribe them from everything.
Yep.
And so now we need to so we need to subscribe them to things unless the thing is nothing. Unless the value is nothing. So
yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's going to be merge because we're updating their email, and then it's going to be courier. So we can do this a little sooner because and if we've got a return there, so it'll head back to
good
our return page, and I can actually probably use this thing that I already have, the return. Email is that type is going to be unsubscribe, and I'll change the success image because that success image makes me sad. I'm going to pull this up a little higher for now. I do have a sad success image that we can give, but for now I'm just going to pull the success image a little higher, and we can fix that later. So it'll return if you're unsubscribing, and it'll just bump out, and then for resubscribing, it's just going to be that same method as before. I'm guessing the courier client subscribe, right? This one
that subscribe, yeah.
Amazing.
Because we're building the list ID.
List ID is already there because we fixed it.
And then we already have the recipient.
Cool. And then I guess we can return that same email submitted page, our success page. And email is going to, email works, subtype works, and success should work. So let's try it. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
So I've got update. Ooh, dict object has no ID. Courier client.list item.id.
If you have to do in brackets, like
Yeah.
I'm going to do dot notation because of JavaScript land, but
Yeah, it's okay. We easy one to fix, right?
yeah.
Cool. Has been subscribed to our collection, and then we can go back here and we can try our unsubscribe method. Unsubscribe collection. Cool. And I'm going to make just a really quick sad GIF, but I think this is good. Besides, like the styling looking bad, but that's something we can fix off screen.
Yeah. So to recap, we added the ability to subscribe, and then we added the ability to subscribe to like the different tags or topics for the posts. And then we added the ability to update an email address and unsubscribe, or unsubscribe and resubscribe. So if you wanted to change that, all using the Courier library. So all of this information is stored inside Courier, inside of our profiles, inside of our lists API. So your website is still static. It's not storing any of that data.
Unsubscribe is going to do this ID. Is he sad? And we're going to need a new success image for stuff that excites you, man. It's you got to have the fun when you can.
Yep.
And then we can have something a little happier for positive result. I'm really into doing microcopy stuff like this. It's a lot of fun. So, okay, so let's go back to our user. We can see that I am unsubscribed currently, so we can go ahead and do a subscription. So it has been subscribed to our everyone collection, and we have a nice subscription image. And then let's go ahead and we can do unsubscribe, has been unsubscribed, and the image is sad. So cool. So I think we're
changing the email address.
We have not tried changing our email address. That's a good catch. So I should definitely do that.
That's a separate call that we're doing.
Yeah. So by Ruparel, and we can subscribe to everything. And yeah, has been subscribed to our everyone collection.
Nice. Yeah. So, and so we updated that profile. That's great.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So for tomorrow, we're going to show off what happens whenever the webhook kicks off to create a new page. And then we're going to have it make a call to Courier to send out notifications.
I'm really excited for this one. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to it. So that's tomorrow at noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern, and we'll be updating the. We'll be tweeting about it on the Contentful Twitter as well. It's just twitch.tv/ Oh, I actually have I have a little PowerPoint that we can look at that has that email address on it. So twitch.tv/trycourier.
Yeah. And so not only will we be making the call to send the message, but we'll actually be building the message. So we'll get to use other parts of your new Courier account.
Yeah, I'm really excited because with Contentful we can actually customize the payload that we send, so we can maybe send part of the newly published content in the email, which should be a lot of fun as well. So I'm looking forward to this too.
Yeah.
Cool. So Adrian, before we go, do you want to plug the register link again, or I guess we could do it tomorrow too?
Yeah. So you didn't see us do a lot with the Courier application. It's really cool. We have a really cool WYSIWYG editor for building what the experience looks like for all the different channels of notifications. Please go check it out. Sign up for a free account and start building. So you get to bring your integrations with you. There are a lot of them, like Slack, or I think like Expo for push. but there are a lot of them that it doesn't cost any extra to send. If you want to send emails or texts, then you have to pay Twilio or SendGrid or whoever your provider is. But we give you 10,000 free through Courier.
Yeah.
But yeah, a month.
That's really cool. I really like that you said you've got like Facebook Messenger in there, because I feel like that's where I do most of my chatting these days, and Discord is coming too, which should be cool.
Yeah.
Cool. On the Contentful side, I do want to plug a couple things. We're going to be streaming again on Thursday as well. Stefan is going to be making a PR to Next.js, the new image type that was just announced at Next.js Conf. He's going to be doing some stuff with that as well. And the name of the gentleman that he'll be streaming with escapes me. And so I will, Angie, if you could chat that to me so I could say it out loud. But we do have a stream on Thursday as well, which should be a lot of fun. And so hopefully we'll see you back here on this channel. As always, our developer portal is always there. You can go check that out. It's our go-to place for Contentful developers. It has links to all of our awesome resources, like our GraphQL course, like our tutorials, our videos, our live streams, and there's also a link to join our Slack, or you can just go straight to contentful.com/Slack, and that's where we all live in terms of community. So we're available to chat and have conversations and answer questions if you need help. We're all in there. We'd love to see you if you need anything. James is the name of the person that Stefan will be streaming with on Thursday. And then we just posted our fast forward recordings from our first ever conference, which you can check out on the Contentful website. We did a really great talk on the app framework, the GraphQL API, and our changelog. And next week on Thursday, we'll be doing a meetup as well. We're going to be doing a digital meetup, which would be really cool. Sorry, on Wednesday, we'll be doing a digital meetup, which would be really cool, that I'm really excited about. We're going to do it 3 times in Berlin, in New York, and in San Francisco. And so I do hope that you join us for that in whatever time zone is most convenient for you. And I'll have some more information about that next Tuesday as well, when we stream on Tuesday. And we'll also be sending out an email about it over the Contentful developer newsletter, and we'll be tweeting about it. And so we're really excited about these meetups, and I do hope that you join us. But that's pretty much it from me today. I think we did a lot today, Adrian, and I'm really excited to finish it with you tomorrow.
Yeah. Exactly. This is a cliffhanger. You gotta see what we do tomorrow. It's gonna be fun.
I think tomorrow's going to be really fun. I'm really looking forward to it. So cool. Well, thank you everyone so much. And we will see you tomorrow, Thursday, next Tuesday, and next Wednesday. So I expect you all to be in attendance. Talk to you all soon.